Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. Appreciate you being here. This is our second Front Porch series, and before we get too far into it, I just want to share with you first how grateful I am you're here. This particular moment in time for me is really special to be able to make these connections with all of you and bring forward some of the things that we're doing to work our way through this COVID period of time and the changes it's affecting us and how we can be connected again and stay in a deep and meaningful place. So thank you for giving us your time and coming together so that we can be who we are as brothers in walking forward. So having said that, I would like to have Elliot Bolen lead us in opening ourselves. He's the elder for MKP.
Thank you, Paul. So in this time of great change, great turmoil, and great confusion, and I think this is a great time for all of us to just take a moment, feel the gratitude for what we have for ourselves, the fact that we can be here and be present and be proud of these contributions from the leadership of MKP, and also be aware of those who are not as fortunate as we are, who are in a place of greater turmoil, greater discomfort, and unfortunately, in many cases, loss. So let's just take this moment to be present, to be mindful of all that's around us as we move forward, as we share what we feel, what we know together. Thank you.
So Ed Gurwitz is the immediate past chair of MKP, and it will be the host chair for this evening's program. It's all yours, Ed, and thank you for doing this.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you all for being here. Tonight's subject is living through disruption, and I'm not going to say it's timely, but I can tell you that the first two sessions of the full program of this were oversubscribed. So I think it's something that is relevant and timely and important. It was created by Stephan McKensie, JD Wolfe, and Brad Bowers, and they're here tonight to take us through a taste of it, an introduction to it. I personally am very much looking forward to it. I hope you are too, and without further ado, I will turn it over to Stephan.
You'll actually throw it to me and I'll take it.
Yes,
thanks, Stephan. Hey, I'm JD Wolfe, you guys. I live in Los Angeles. There's something about being here with you all initiated men that I'm instantly home. So thank you. It's so good to see Elliot and Odie and Gary and Chris and so many people here. Baradaji, Eric, I mean, just folks that I recognize and see and I miss, and I love you guys. So good to be in the room with you. I want to give credit where credit is due. And that is that the creators of this are guys like Matt Kelly and Brad Bowers and Boysen and John Levitt, who have taken the time to put this together, and then they called me into it, and I helped some to support this work. And this work was something different for a second. It was not quite what it is now because COVID-19 hit. And it just so happened that it was perfect for what we wanted to offer men, especially in such a unique time. And so those guys really helped to make this happen and get it out and be at the right time and the right place to go do this thing. And then Stephan and I just so happened to lead the very first one, and we're in the middle of it. And it's so fantastic to be with these guys. And we could talk about it for a long time, but I'm not going to do that to you. We're going to throw you right into the deep end because you're initiated guys. Like Bill Davies, like, yeah, let's go. And And I love that about you guys, and I trust that about you guys. So there's a way in which I'm going to ask, and it's just a reminder, because I think that you guys know this, I make up you guys know this, that I want you to drop out of your heads and into your bodies, because that's what we're asking these guys to do each and every week on the call. They don't have a lot of time. There's just 10 of them. And so we're jumping right into the business of it all. And so they have to go right for it. And I'm asking you guys to do that exact same thing. And so you're going to be asked 3 questions. You're going to be brought to a room, your breakout room. You'll have 15 minutes, and you guys will have to determine how much time you get on that. Say there was 4 of you in the room, that would give you 3 minutes roughly. And you're going to have these 3 questions, and the 3 questions that you're going to be posing and thinking about and speaking to are, how do you want to be showing up in your life right now? How do you want to be showing up in your life right now? And don't worry, you don't have to write this down. It's going to be in the chat box. How are you showing up? Number 2 is, how are you showing up? And number 3, what seems to be holding you back right now, if anything? So you got 3 questions. How do you want to be showing up in your life right now? How are you showing up? And what seems to be holding you back right now, if anything? All right, let's break them out. Oh, before you go, don't break them out yet. The person who has the color red in the room the most, or on your person, is the one who goes first. And then he'll call out who goes next, so that you're not wasting any time figuring that out. The person with the most red in the room goes first, and you guys will be able to figure it out from there. See you later. See you when you get back.
Welcome back. For me, it's helpful for me to see the different parts of me. And for this process, to interpret maybe some stuff you're going through. For me, I have the little boy in me. I have the awakened part of me. And then I have the part of me that, the reaction. So let's say someone hits me, my reaction is I want to kill them. Like, I literally want to kill them. And the awakened me goes through the process of what's going on. You know, do I turn the other cheek? So it's like the 3 parts of me, right? So in the chat, I want you to type in from those 3 different parts of you, however you define those parts. What is the fear that you're experiencing because of this COVID-19? So you have like a little boy, maybe the reaction part of you, and the awakened, thank you, Boysen, and the awakened part of you. What are those different fears? Because for me, they're very different.
Not much fear that I'm aware of, approaching it pretty rationally. Isolation. I might get the virus. From my little boy, fear. From my woke, fear, I'm not doing enough. Reaction, fear of getting sick and dying. The unknown, feeling alone. Fear of unrest in society. Little boy hiding, running away. I don't know. We're sitting in the chapel at NWTA. That's what I love about this time. Awakened one. I'm doing enough to help. Little boy, fear of being treated less than regarding healthcare. Failure, dropping the ball with visiting nurses' hospice job. Boy, chance to not have to be so productive. Awakened chance for new consciousness and societal change. Reaction, this is my time to die. My fear is that I'll want to return to normal, want to be changed from this. No more new warrior training adventures. Awakened one, accept what is and tell the truth. Woke side, fear, something wrong. Woke side, fear of chaos. Reaction, society is off course. Reaction, rage, rage, rage. Awakened, joy, tree, delighted. Awakened, one sadness on possible loss of civilization. I am honored to have the virus and all of the chatter in the world to use as reflections, mirror of what and who I am. And it's about the virus out there and what parts of me are coming online. New freedom, isolation from family, losing my loved ones, fear, feeling, losing myself, needing to do something but not knowing what to do, reaction, walk in spirit of harmonious cooperation, reaction, I don't know what to do, mourning, men will not have weekends.
And the person that was on the phone, did you want to add a couple of yours?
So you just read everyone else's, right? Is that what that was?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a couple of mine. One would be fear of being alone when you're sick. You know, either I get sick or my wife gets sick, and then no one can come visit us.
Thank you. And
So that's a huge fear, and fear of losing friends too.
Thank you.
Thank you. No more truly sacred fires, woke side, that more people of color are dying from this than others.
So breathe all that in, because my judgment is a lot of that is out there too, and even more.
Uh-huh. Right.
And even more.
I like to put one more fear in too: fear of the government taking over and using this as a crutch. That's a fear.
Thank you. It's interesting. Just put that. Someone just said fear of weakening democracy right after you said that.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
take a second.
Yeah.
Everyone take a second, mute yourself, and just breathe that in. That's a lot. That's a lot. And I'm sure there's more. And whatever your process is, because we don't have the time to do what I would love to do, which would take another 15 minutes in dissecting that and not putting a cherry on it, because I don't believe there is a cherry, but I do believe there are the fluffy clouds, but that doesn't happen in a 2-minute pat on the back. And that's part of this course, is to break it down and then build it up, but from within. Not from my words, but from the individual's person, build within them, because it's already there, and help it blossom. So in this moment, whatever you need or want to do to let that part go of the fear. And then I want you to look at that or sense that light inside, however small or however bright. And so since I know majority of you in here, I would judge very bright. But for you, that little light inside of you, or that bright light inside of you, I see Andy, just hold on. Go to that light. And in that light, see the truth. If all those fears happened, the truth in you to stand in that happening, harness that fire in that light to bring about what you need to do to make everything all right. Because disruption will happen today, and when COVID is over, it will still happen tomorrow. But that light inside of you is what sets everything right. That light in you, you have the power of that dial to turn up and turn out and make the changes in you to make everything all right. I can't control what happens outside that door, but inside, to that door, that's where my power lies. And that will affect what's going on outside of me, at least in my nearby vicinity. So when you talk about that light, what is it in the chat that you have the power of? Put that in the chat. Just real brief, a couple of words, and put that in the chat.
Stand in power. I am loving and powerful. To consciously create my reality. How I choose to show up, clarity and compassion. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I am present and compassionate. To choose the way I respond. I am enough. present, hungry, awake. To decide who I am. I am connected to spirit unconditionally. To decide who I am and stand in that. My superpower is joyitude. I know who that is. That's Jim.
I like to say one too.
Ready and capable.
Go for it.
Go for it. Say it.
My one would be that I could stand out in the sunlight and just stand there, and it will come to me freely.
Uh-huh.
So that's my power, the sunlight and the God in the sunlight. That's my power.
Thanks.
Thanks, thank you, Andy Ziner, for that.
Thank you, Andy. Recognize the spirit within and control that provides to help keep my family and friends aware and safe. Be fiercely passionate and loving in all my affairs. I have a withhold, Stephán. Why are you focused so much on fear? The words you are using, my access may be another feeling. I'm clear. And I can rally my family and in the sun.
Thank you. And take all that light in, or however you choose to call that. Fire, light. Someone else add, I am held in my strength and love. Take that in. And so I'm going to switch things around a little bit. And JD's going to tell you a little bit how the course breaks down, but I want to really hit on, oh, here's another one. Okay. I really want to, in this moment, this living through disruption, it's more than just a course for me, and it's more than what the activities are, because the bigger picture, what I'm really focusing on is there's always a disruption. There is always a disruption. Maybe not this big, but there's always one. So how do I get back to that light so that I am guided exactly where I want to be and I'm not pulled off course? And so that is the most power that I believe this course has, is to facilitate that. And that course changes depending on if 10 certified men are on it or if 10 initiated men on it. We have a class that has 60-40% of initiated men and uninitiated men. So that course is developed around them and how to help them through it. And it's also developed depending on who's sitting in the course. So though it's a document and it's alive, it's still forming and breathing and developing and creating in the moment. And so what this is very different maybe than what we'll do on then, but it's really about digging into you, having some time to really dig into you in a way that maybe you don't do in iGroup. I definitely don't do it in iGroup. And maybe on a weekend, well, I don't do it on the weekend because I am focused on others. It's a pure time to just be focused on myself and dig into it in a way that I've never done before. And that's how I know JD and I have developed the course that we're doing, is we're having them peek in a way that they never even thought was possible to look at. So they can be able to see all the things that they have and maybe what's keeping them from going after those things or owning the things that they're already present with. Good, JD?
Yeah, so take your hands like this and just shake them. Yeah, and move your body a little. So one of the things that you're doing here and what we're doing here with this course around disruption is something that's set out for 7 weeks with real clear information about what each week holds and a bunch of tools to play with. And really what we're looking at is how can men's work inform us right now as men during a time of such a unique place where no one's quite sure what's happening or going on. Or maybe you are sure, or maybe you're completely secure in who you are and everything's good. And there's a place for that man as well, because it's getting them to play with these different tools and be with each other in and around men's work to really start to focus where they're at and how they're going to take their next steps, whatever that might be, without judgment from the facilitators who will change. The next facilitators will be Brad and Matt. And Brad, I think that you had something on that.
Thank you, JD. Yeah, first, I just want to say I feel so much gratitude to be here with you guys and to be part of this work. Next month's my 10-year anniversary of my NWTA, so that feels awesome. And just the support and love that we all give each other is so meaningful to me. So glad to be here. We kick off the next course, which also sold out very quickly on May 27th. Myself and Matt Kelly, we were part of the group that helped create this, and we started weeks ago before COVID was even on the radar, and interestingly came up with the concept about disruption because, like Stephán talked about, disruption is all the time. Life is change, and change is constant. So we had already picked up on something, obviously seeing what's happening with men and in the workplace and beyond. There's lots of change going on and lots of disruption. And we wanted to address that in a new way. And so we've put together a really awesome course that, as we talked about, is going to evolve as we go. And it's going to change as we go, because the magic that Stephán and JD bring is going to be different than the magic that Matt and I bring. And that's special, as is the men that show up. What are they bringing? And although we're working off a similar song sheet, there's going to be different voices and different things happening in each of these curriculum that makes it exciting and different. It's another place for us to challenge each other, for me to be challenged, for me to challenge others, to really stand up and be the men that we want to be. And I know for me, right in this time, I feel very connected to my source and spirit in creating consciously the life that I want, even in the midst of all this. And that's part of what I definitely am going to be bringing to the next course. And I know Matt is very focused on the changing landscape and the need for a new map to move forward. And so I know that's some of the pieces he's bringing. And, you know, one other thing, I don't want to say too much about it, but we're also in the project taking the framework of what we built here. And there's some other constituencies that are going to be coming out with similar courses with their own flavors and their own differences to speak to different parts of men and different men. And so that's an exciting thing that's coming up as well, so that we can talk to men of difference, bring them in, and give everyone a chance to speak and grow and support and challenge. I think we might do a bit of a Q&A here.
Yeah, we have a couple minutes. If we have
Good. So
two or 3 minutes. If we have anybody have any questions.
One of the things I want to mention also is that after we're done with this course, we have a week of a break, and then the course starts up again for Stephán and I. And then we'll have also a GBTQ geared option as well. The same material, the same way of being, and primarily targeted for GBTQ folk to join that. So that's what's coming up with this. Questions?
Andy, you have a question?
Yeah, this is Andy Heller, Tucson. I'm witnessing in part of the Barrier Free, and you know, we'll have blind people who might not see hand signals. We have deaf people who may need assistance and other assistance. I'm starting an autism high group, so that's being built from scratch. So I'm just wondering, and maybe it's just in case you weren't aware of, Stephán, because of the 2-3% of the things I actually pick up and are good at, you may have missed or not considered. So I keep throwing them in there. I keep getting hit and knocked down, but I'm going to keep throwing them in there. So just be wary of language. You know, when you say get up and stretch, be really careful you don't have people in wheelchairs on your call. And I know that's maybe another level of this, and I'm way down here. You guys are the leaders putting these together, and I'm nitpicking, and I really did absolutely zero of what you put into it. And this is my contribution that I have passion around. is to include everyone, and that's a different kind of a change. I believe that's more of a cultural, some other ism change, and I'm not sure what that looks like, but I want to bring that as an awareness. Thank you.
So Andy, I want to say to you, thank you, because it's always time for clarity around difference. It's always the time for it. And that we get to learn together. And if I'm not learning that here, and I'm not given the opportunity to learn that here because someone's willing and courageous enough to speak up, then what am I doing here? So thank you for bringing it. And thank you for bringing it over and over again, because maybe someday people will start to hear you. I'm hearing you now. Boysen?
Thank you.
Actually, okay, Boysen.
Other questions? Yeah, price. So Bill Davies threw in a question about price. I'll post the website here. So there's 2 price points. $195 is for MKP USA members. $275 is kind of the rack price. We do have some limited scholarship stuff, and we can work with guys as they're coming in. As was kind of mentioned but not touched specifically, this course is open to men who have gone through the New Warrior Training Adventure and men who have not gone through the New Warrior Training Adventure. On the first cohort, we've got, it's about 60-40 in the split between non-warriors and warriors. So we know that we're going to get different kind of mixes here. JD also, will there be a version for young warriors? Look at that. We're working with a group of young warriors right now in a curriculum circle to develop a course for young warriors. We also are putting together the team of men of some obvious African ancestry who are going to be writing the curriculum for that constituency. JD and Stephán from the very beginning have stepped up to say we want to be doing a GBTQ version of this. So there are other courses being developed right now.
A question for somebody.
Yeah.
We talked about it in our I group. MKP, group of diverse men with a mission, right? So we kind of try to include everybody, right? So I understand having a different topic, but to have different groups, okay, let's have this for GBT, let's have this for African American, why not for immigrants, why don't for Muslim, why don't for young, why don't for old? That looks to me like fractioning, because as soon as you specify a group, you're excluding everybody else from that. So that seems like fractioning. It's not like, yeah, so that's the question. What's the wisdom about that?
I'm happy to answer that, Stephán, unless you...
If you go for it.
Yeah, so here it is. There's these offerings, this Living Through Disruption that we're offering, and it's for all men. And sometimes it's great to have a place where, speaking as a gay man, I can go and be with my GBTQ brothers. And I know that may be fractioning for some men, maybe yourself, but for me, that's my life that I've been living, to be fractioned off and to be set over to the side or be told I'm not good enough or enough. So for me, this one place that I have feels like home. And if I can do that in a space where I'm with GBTQ men who are also new warriors, wow, that's amazing. So all I'd ask is your willingness to give me this one.
Let me explain it to you this way, Goran. I look at it as a big family. MKP, its goal, I judge and desires to have one big family. And yet inside a family, there's dynamics. So the kids may get together and just talk amongst themselves. And they need that time as the kids, as brothers and sisters to talk. The parents talk sometimes, and there's different dynamics. So even though we're in a family, there's some issues, whether we're projections we're getting, whether it's all types of things we're getting from within MKP or out of MKP, we're not leaving, but we need to talk and discuss and connect on that level that we're not getting maybe in the bigger circle, so we can come back and talk about it with the larger part of the family to heal. So some of our African descent brothers Sometimes on weekends, things have been said to me. I've taken arrows and things unintentionally, whatever that is. I can go, and within that group, we can talk, heal, and then we can come and talk in the bigger group so we can heal as a family. So even though we're all under the same umbrella, there's different ways of working and to be able to get understanding and clarity and support.
And I just want to say, Goran, obviously we're not having NWTAs right now. If you have a chance, if you haven't in the future, we have many gateway weekends. Andy mentioned the barrier-free one. There's the GBTQ one, Young Warrior, etc. If you go to one, and I've been to a few, you will see the importance of having the opportunity for men to split up and do their work together, and the impact that that has on them. And then if you're lucky enough to be invited and not part of that group, to see, what that might bring up for you as well.
And just one thing before, because we're running out of time. Also, there's I also believe MKP is about empowerment. And sometimes it takes me, from my empowerment, to see something like me. So to see Prodigy, when I went and did my first weekend, and Prodigy was the full leader, and I could cry, and now that was impactful and healing for me, right? And to be on a weekend when everyone looks like me, I'm going to bawl and cry, because there's a healing in that doesn't, not that I'm not healing in a big group, but it's not the same type of healing. Just so when I see young warriors to come together, and they're minimized because, oh, you're young, wait till you get older, you don't really know what it's like. And they have real, true issues and problems and pains right now, and they get together and they get to lead and they get to be in front. That's empowering. So what we're doing is we're empowering everyone in the family, right? Not just mom and dad. I'm in with that.
Beautiful. I'm going to bring us back. So I want to say thank you, JD Wolfe, Stephan McKenzie. So their next session launches June 17th. The GBTQ is going to launch June 30th. Brad Bowers and Matt Kelly, they launch this next week, May 27th. So we're psyched to have this going. We'll be getting the new dates up on the website, livingthroughdisruption.org. There's a wait list email. Put in your name, your email address, get on the wait list if you're interested in getting a first shot at the seats as they open.
Yeah, because there's only 10 folks per session.
Seats. This is a long, intimate process. 7 weeks, 10 seats, 2 facilitators. The facilitators are all CLCs, co-leaders, or full leaders that are holding the process. And I'm going to hand it back. Thank you all for coming. I'm going to hand it back to Paul Samuelson. And thank you, brothers.
Actually, back to me, Boysen, but thank you.
Okay, back.
And thank you to Stephan, JD, Brad, and all of you who participated. For me, this was eye-opening. There were things I hadn't looked at. There were things I hadn't realized about living in this time. And it really is a gift, what you've given. And I thank you, all of you, and everyone on the call, for your participation. Now, Bryan Harold, who's the chair-elect, is going to tell you what's coming up next in the Front Porch series. Bryan?
So on Tuesday, the 2nd of June, we have an excellent session from the Gender Equity and Reconciliation International, the Jerry people. Some of you know MKP USA has co-sponsored over several years work on healing gender experiences, including some events in the UN complex Manhattan last year. So Cynthia Bricks and Will Keaton, founders of Gender Equity and Reconciliation International, which has been around for 35 years. And they're both very dear friends of the project. We'll be sharing about their programming and visioning. So I hope you join us Tuesday, same time, same channel, Tuesday, 6/2. And with that, I'll hand it back to Paul.
Thanks, Bryan. Thanks, Ed, for hosting this evening for us as the hosting chair. I want to just acknowledge you, Brad, you, Stefan, and you, JD, for the wisdom and the strength that you embody in this moment, and I know in the work that you do. It's a gift from your hearts, and it's well felt, and it's very meaningful. So thank you for the gift that you give to all of us, and the gift that you give to the world through the work you're doing. I appreciate that. And Boysen, of course, I want to really recognize you for the job that you have in continuing to find, bring, and create programs for us so that we can grow and change in our own life. So thank you, all of you, for what you bring. I'd like to close the evening with a poem from David White. I have the pleasure of knowing David White. He's a friend and a neighbor for the last 30 years on Whidbey Island. And so his work is close to me. And so I want to share this piece with you in closing. It's called Sometimes. Sometimes, if you move carefully through the forest, breathing like the ones in the old stories, who could cross a shimmering bed of leaves without a sound, you come to a place whose only task is to trouble you with tiny but frightening requests. Conceived out of nowhere, but in this place, bringing and leading us everywhere. Requests to stop what you are doing right now, and to stop what you are becoming while you do it. Questions that can make or unmake a life, that have patently waited for you. Questions that have no right to go away. I believe that we're living in many of those questions right now. And the beauty of that is that we're living together in this global brotherhood where we can be safe as we work through those together. So thank you for what you bring to me and to all of us in the project. Again, thank you for being here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Blessings to you all.